Welcome everyone to interview number 28 of OSU Improvement Month. Today with Fangzy. Oh my gosh, welcome. Hello.
Hey people, what's up?
Yo. Oh my god, it's been way too long.
Indeed, indeed.
So, just in case people aren't familiar with you, could you give a brief introduction to who you are as a player and what people would probably recognize you for?
Oh boy. Crap, what am I known for? I don't know if people even know me. I guess I joined in 2014. Maybe it's I guess you've probably seen me around leaderboards. I used to play tournaments a couple years back. Play a lot of DT. I guess that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think
Um,
the things
yeah.
I recognize you for, so you play with mouse and
Yes, I guess
you
so, yeah.
you play some DT stuff. You're pretty fast, and you also play a lot of like you go for leaderboard scores. I feel like a lot more than other people do.
Yeah, it's what I mainly do on Osu now for the past couple of years. It's what I enjoy the most actually, so that's what I do.
All right, I'm curious to actually start from the very beginning, and we'll sort of like w- walk through your history, so to speak. So, you joined the game in June 2014. Can you tell us a bit about how you first discovered the game and what got you interested in it in the beginning?
When I first discovered the game. So I believe it was so before Osu, I mainly played Minecraft and it was just with IRL friends. And I think we were playing on this I remember like specifically it was a server called Chapo. It was like a hub server or whatever, but they had the factions. And I remember just like we weren't like in a big group or anything. It was just like our IRLs, but there were like bigger groups on the server, and one of their players had like a YouTube channel. He would upload like PvP videos, right?
Oh.
But one day he uploaded like an Osu clip. I was like, "What the heck is this game?" It was just like a random map. I don't even remember the guy's name, unfortunately. I wish I did. I didn't know him, so I found that, and this was like 2014. This was like spring 2014, and then I must have found like a Wubwoof video after that. I watched a lot of him back then.
Let's
So
go.
but everybody did, you know.
Yeah.
I just downloaded the game and I played I guess I just played all the new ranked maps, you know. I actually have all my old locals from like the first month I played. Really
Oh,
cool.
let's
Yeah.
go.
This might be a tangent. I just remember specifically playing, you know, Makaki City Actors or Kagero Days.
Yeah.
I remember so the opening song Days, the one that would eventually become the first ranked one. This was like the first anime I watched. So this was like I downloaded. I was like really hyped about the song. I just remember playing it the normal diff like 200 times in a day until I could SS it.
Oh my god. Dang.
That's all I remember. But yeah, that's kind of how I found the game. I've kind of just played it ever since. It really kind of just meshed with me, you know. I had a lot of fun with the music and stuff.
Let's go. Well, what other games were you playing at that time? Like, was Osu sort of your quote unquote main game from the get go, or was it alongside some other games?
So I guess it was Minecraft before, just with IRL friends from school, and then during what for like yeah, I guess I dropped Minecraft kind of, and then it was just Osu, and then I played League with IRL friends. And I still do to this day, but it's mostly just been Osu to be honest.
Ah, I
Yeah, I play
see.
like other Steam games here and there, maybe for like a week at a time, but I'm kind of just like I just play this game, that's it.
Actually, speaking of other games, I've always been curious about your avatar that you tend to use everywhere. Is that from something in particular?
Oh yeah, yeah. So it's from Metroid. I'm a big Metroid fan.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So like always had Nintendo consoles growing up, like Game Boy. So it's from Metroid Fusion. It's the first one I played, and there's just like this really memorable scene where this character is the someone mimicking Samus comes in. I don't know, stuck out to me. Like years
Ah,
down the road, you know, I was like, oh, this is a cool avatar. I'll just use it
I
forever, I
see.
guess.
Let's go. So, I think the other sort of context story aspect of your upbringing is probably your username. That's something that I've always been curious about because Fangzy, it rolls off the tongue really nicely. It's very unique. I'm curious how that name
Huh?
came to be.
So I actually have a story about my username. I feel like some people don't. Like they just find a cool thing and they name themselves that, which is respectable. Um, like, I have to remember. It might be might get on a tangent here. Let's see.
That's okay.
So it was like oh god, I was like in like elementary school. I would come home and watch like Konami. Naruto would be on. My little brother and I were like big Naruto fans,
No.
and we got into manga. We started collecting getting the physical versions or whatever books. And oh god, there's like so many parts to this. So my original username when I like first created an alias when I was like 11 was Ninja Monkey Fang. Like it was just 3 words. Uh,
Oh.
and I was a really good tree climber when I was little, like on the playground and stuff. I just liked monkeys; they were my favorite animal back then, and then ninjas were cool. Now the Fang part comes from it was like one Christmas. I believe I got like a Bleach manga, like the manga Bleach from my
Okay.
grandparents. And there was this character in it, and he had this sword. And when he like did his Bankai, which is like he got powerful or whatever, he like did a Super Saiyan. His sword was like really jagged and looked like fangs. I don't know.
Oh.
I was like 12. I was like, okay, that's cool. And so I just put the 3 words together, Ninja Monkey Fang. As I got older, I guess 14 is not that old, but I was like, this is a stupid username.
Oh.
So I was just like, I liked the Fang part of it though. And then I was also watching Call of Duty Black Ops 2 trick shots on YouTube
Oh,
during that
okay.
period. And there was this guy, I don't know anything about him. I just saw his video. His name was FaZe Linksy, like Link with the ZY at the end. I was like, oh, let me just do that to my name.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it was the guy. Yes.
Oh,
Um.
I see. Someone put a picture of the
Mhm.
uh
And it also made sense because he had a monkey next to him. I
okay, I
forget his
see.
name. So yeah, it's like kind of a funny. It's just like I came up with the username when I was little, and I kept part of it. I'm pretty happy with my username. Um, I don't think I'll ever want to change it.
Yeah, I think
So
it's pretty
yeah.
good. So, Fingzi was born on Osu in June 2014, and from there, did you have like other friends that you played the game with? Because I know you mentioned you were playing games with other people at the time, but was Osu mostly a solo game for you?
So I found the game and then I mentioned it to my IRL friends that played games. It was like a year before people. So like they played with me for a bit. We played multi lobbies. I still like have some of their scores saved and screenshots. It's pretty cool.
Oh, let's go.
Um what was really cool was it must have been around like December 2014. It was like a couple months into my journey. I was getting like 3-star, 4-star FCs then, like hard diff FCs. And I met this guy. He was like my first ever rival. He was just around the rank I was at. I don't know. I don't remember how we found each other, but we really just like we were just rivals. Like we were like, I'm gonna try to beat your score on this. I'm gonna try to get an A rank first on this map for like a couple like 4 months almost. And we kind of just pushed each other into 4 digits. It was really cool. I feel like I was lucky to have that. Actually, same as Raruti. He was a big Raruti fan. Started playing
Ah,
again recently, but yeah, I don't know. That was like my first ever rival in the game. I was really happy. It was like I don't know, it kind of like the sense of community was there. Um, that's I started liking OSU so much because I could interact with people like that. The game is so simple, the client's so simple, but there's so much depth to it. So, yeah.
yeah, I agree with that perspective completely. It's like such a unique game in that perspective, in that sense. I feel like a lot of people don't like really, or I guess like a lot of people like, or a lot of other communities just don't have that aspect to it.
It's even hard for that to even like exist nowadays on the internet. The internet's so big now. The way people just like do things on the internet, it kind of just. But I feel like OSU was just created in the perfect time.
Right.
and it can't exist again like it used to, which is fine.
You
But I
mean
think
like
that's cool.
if someone tried making something similar today?
Like I think I mean the game, I mean like the community and the way it was just the internet was a different place back then, right? Like
Right,
you think
right.
the old forum boards and stuff. I
That's
don't know.
true.
So it was way more niche. I mean, Osu is still pretty in its little pocket of the internet, but
Right, that's true.
yeah.
So that rivalry was basically early 2015, you mentioned?
Yeah, it was like so his playgraft he played, it was like August to March 2015, and then he stopped playing the game completely.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I only had contact with him through the game, so it was like, oh, he's done.
No.
Yeah.
Wait, that's actually
Um,
crazy. They spiked at 6,000 play count in December 2014, and then
yeah.
like 3 months later they were just completely gone.
I don't actually know that much about them. Um, I think they're older than me, so they probably just were doing some other stuff. I don't know.
Right, that makes sense.
Um, I kept a pretty good history of myself. I just have to like refresh. It's all on my user page somewhere. This is another tangent, but I love when people put a lot of stuff on their user page and you can kind of just delve into them and
Ah,
kind of see what they've done or who they are
I agree.
and find their story. Um, yeah, I don't know, I think it's pretty cool.
Wait, you have so many hot girl screenshots.
I do, yeah.
Oh my god, that's so good.
Uh, so I think like 2015, at some point I met all the people in Hot Grills eventually. I don't know.
So how did you join that server? I feel like that was like one of the like it was uh like a spawn point for a lot of the
It's
modern top
so
players.
weird. This is okay. I'm gonna go off topic for a second, but it's so weird if you look at like all the people that joined in 2014 in that server, and you see if you look at their rank graph, they're all like mimicking each other. It's like everything just clicked for everyone individually. It's so strange. Um,
Yeah, for context, that it was like a Discord server made by Monko2K.
mhm. It was actually so it was named Hot Grills. It was originally for the first tournament we ever played. It was crap. I have to scroll up and find the tournament name. It was SMT or Histy Osu Histy Champion OHC. So
Ah,
I
I see.
actually I'm like pretty sure on this. I met Monko and Tony, who was Legend Crazy Man at the time. We all just randomly met in a multi. Now Monko and
Yeah,
Tony might have known each other before, but it was just like the three of us. We were all three digit, and we were just playing. And then we're like, I'm pretty sure the conversation in the multi chat was like, "You guys want to play a tournament or something?" And so we just did. That's
interesting.
literally it. I believe I was actually the first message in Hot Grills. I don't know,
Oh wow.
but I don't know. I like it was a good fun era. I don't remember much from it to be honest, but
Looking at the Avatar collab, it looks like you guys used TF2, Team Fortress 2 characters as your
yeah,
collab.
it was originally a bunch of like actual grills, like physical grills, and then I can't find that anymore. And then it was TF2. Yeah,
I see.
that was fun. Avatar collabs are cool.
Yeah, I remember. I'm surprised. Like you guys set an avatar for Idke in the collab, but I'm pretty sure he just didn't use avatars at all at the time.
Maybe I don't remember, but I usually remember stuff like that. But I don't know. AK must have still been a four digit back then,
Yeah,
and
he
then
was super new.
yeah.
I'm
So yeah,
surprised. Like I'm just uh, curious about like the how the team itself, like the rest of the members on that team came to be because like so it was like you, Monko, and Tony, and then the other people on this team were Idke, Boggles, Dunwa, Fiery, and Stoof.
So actually, before that, the original team was I have it pulled up. It was Monko, me, Edkey, Tony, Boggles, Pyro War, Leotic, and Shiori. I don't
Oh,
know if I don't know if you probably know who Leotic is, right?
yeah, yeah.
Are they Florida? I'm not Florida.
No, no. But okay, that makes okay. So okay, the one that I'm looking at on your user page, I was looking at your avatar collab for SMT Winter.
Yeah, I'll post this in the thread.
Okay, this is in your
Um,
tournament history. Okay, got it.
yeah. It was mostly like just friends that we had that like we could sign up with, I guess. And this was back on like Skype. Like this was like before, like probably a month before Discord came out or something, or if we started using it.
Right.
So I don't have any of those logs.
Oh,
But
I see.
I think it was just like, hey, tournaments are a thing. This is back when like there were like only 8 players with a badge or something, you know? Like there was
Yeah,
OWC and then there was like 2 other tournament badges. So it was like still a new it was like a new thing. Community tournaments.
yeah.
Um so we're like, oh, this could be fun. Let's just play it, you know? To be honest, for SMT Winter with the Moa Balgos Fiery Stoof, I don't really remember that much about that tournament. We did get second though. Uh I guess I remember playing one map and it was versus Cookiezi and I was so nervous and I bottom scored it, I'm pretty sure.
Oh no. Wait, yeah, I remember SMT Winter
Yeah.
2017. That
It's
was
like the Fox badge.
yeah.
It was a stacked team we were playing versus. It was Azer, Xarius, Cookiezi, Dustus, Firstus, Toy, Vaxe, and Vilchq.
Yeah,
Like if
that
you think of it, that was probably like the biggest gap ever.
I remember that was like the craziest stack team. Like that tournament was over in registration.
Yeah. It
And
was a big tournament too, 128 teams.
yeah, wait, that's true actually. Even like modern 4v4 tournaments, I feel like they don't get that many.
It was like probably one of the bigger tournaments every year though, SMT.
Yeah, yeah, SMT was super, super popular.
Yeah. So that was really exciting getting to second in that. We were not prepared for that grand finals. Oh my god. Or at least I wasn't. I don't know if I can speak for the others, but holy crap.
So that was in late 2016. At what point, or like, how did your skill set sort of evolve over time? Like, what were the first types of maps that you really gravitated towards? And then from there, I think, long story short, you eventually became a hidden double time player. But throughout that time, like, what was the sort of history of your playstyle?
Mm. So so I guess back when I was just like playing I was just playing for rank, right? It was a lot of Tillerino grinding. It was really actually only that. Um obviously it Tillerino recommends DT back then quite often. So I was legit just like a TP spammer. Like I would just farm Tillerino maps and I would retry maps. Like I think at my most played, I still have Orange Taiyang's Insane 366 plays. That was all
Yeah.
done in one day, you know? But it's
Oh,
still like my seventh most played map. Like
oh my
okay, Dad
God.
is my number 2 most played.
Yeah.
But
These are definitely.
those are all from like years ago. So I was actually just like a DT. I was not even hidden. I sucked at hidden. Still suck at hidden, but I was just like a DT one trick. But that's what I enjoyed. It was a lot of fun. Um, I was even despite that though, I ended up getting into like maps that were like I guess quote hard for the time, like like just insane DTs, like 6-star maps that you would see like 4 people on the leaderboard back then. Now it's like full 50 people playing it, you know. Um, so I was really like tunneled into DT. I sucked at everything else. It took a long time for me. Like I eventually at some point wanted to be like, I just want to get good at no mod. Want to get good at hard rock. I still didn't really care about hidden. Um,
Oh.
but yeah, I don't know. Kind of just I played the game. Um, I eventually had to I hidden I just didn't like, man, back then. But I had to add it for the leaderboard because once I got my first number one, I was like, damn, that felt good. I
Ah,
gotta
I
do this
see.
more.
So you started out as sort of like a diehard like DT PP spammer, and from there you sort of like delve deeper into the world of double time.
I guess so. I think I just played what like the high like I just played what everybody else played at the time that was farming performance points, you know? But I just got to a point where like the majority of people how do I word this? It was like I don't know, I just got to like the higher tier of maps. You know, I got to 3 digit pretty fast in this game. It was like a year into my playing. I don't know. It wasn't it was like 5,000 PP back then. So I don't know, it was just like normal stuff. Normal old 2014 to 2015, like what you would consider farm maps.
3 digit was
Um
5K at the time, really?
it was top 1,989 with 5,662 PP on 2015.
Whoa, yeah. Okay, so in your OSU track, you have in September 25th, 2015, you were
September 21st I've written down, but yeah, give or take 5 days, I don't know.
okay, yeah, I'm on your OSU track and you were ranked 966 with 5,685 PP.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
I remember I would back then I would take pictures. I must have been like I don't know what was going on. I remember I would take pictures of my performance points to send to like an Instagram group chat with my friends instead of screenshotting it because you know I was like 14. I was just like stupid. Um I have all these old pictures of like stuff. They're taken with like a crappy crappy phone or
Fuck.
something. I don't know.
Dang, what the heck? You should be on your user page though, I feel like.
They are. They're linked. They're like hyperlinked. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
For people that want to like search for stuff, they'll find it.
Okay, yeah, I see. So on your user page, in the miscellaneous box, there's a benchmark section, and on your PP milestones, you have like you have this scuffed pictures linked. So you have 1,007 PP at rank 50K.
It's crazy, right? That's like how much do you need for that now?
I
4,000? I don't know.
way more than
I
that.
cannot
I've
relate.
but
Um,
yeah, that's crazy. So I'm curious how or okay, so you started gradually playing less for rank, I feel like, and more for like leaderboard scores and just kind of like enjoying different maps, like playing older maps and just things like that. So what was that transition sort of like?
yeah, so that was around January 2019. This was right when the first big performance point rework was coming out in like a long time. This was like the first speed buff, you know.
Oh yeah.
Um, so I just remember like before that, I was just playing for rank, right? I was like top 250 for like 3 years straight then. I was in like 100, I was like rank 130 around that time. Um, and I don't know why. I just never actually like deep down cared about getting 2 digit. I like farmed a bunch of maps up before the rework just so that they would get buffed when it happened. And then I kind of like right after the rework hit, I just stopped playing for rank. I don't know. I just didn't care.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
so yeah, I started playing way more for leaderboards. Some of the most fun I've ever had in this game is when I have like snipe wars with someone that is also pretty proficient at getting rank ones. Like
Oh.
logging on, you know, maybe I take a couple of theirs before like a day, and then I wake up and like, oh, what's gonna happen, you know? And then it's like a little battle, you know, but only we know about it. I think it's so cool. I also around that time farmed a bunch of rank score. I went from like 4 digit rank score to top 100 that year.
Oh,
Which wasn't that hard to hit back then. It was like 90 billion. Um, it's still a lot, but
right.
a lot more people rank score farm nowadays, you know. Um, I don't know. I just wanted to. I really respect a lot of the people that play a large pool of maps. You know, like you got. I don't know. Just You got Wolf, you got like Riser, Haga, all the other score farmers. You got, I mean, Momo, just off the top of my head. I just
Right.
respect all the leaderboard players so much. I just wanted to, be one of the guys, be one of the people like to do that.
Yeah, that's crazy. And I feel like you sort of merged together both like that passion of like all those older maps and also like your proficiency with double time. And then so you mentioned that you started adding hidden basically just for leaderboard scores and then it kind of just stuck from there.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I still prefer playing without hidden. I like hidden the mod. It's just like the game comes to me easier without it. I like approach circles. Um,
Okay.
and because I'm so like what's a good word for this? Maybe I'm so anal at getting good act.
Right.
Hidden can sometimes my hidden reading's not the best, but I push through it. I grind out maps, and I eventually just got really comfy with the star range that I play because I'm not really a player that pushes skill cap. I rarely play anything above 7.5 or 8 stars. It's just like getting to the point where I have to warm up for them. And like even then I'm just like, oh, I get too tired quickly. It's not fun. I want to have a good like long session where I can play 50 different maps and
Right.
pump out 50 different scores. That's where I find enjoyment from the game for sure.
So I want to tunnel in on accuracy a little bit. Do you feel like accuracy is sort of its own skill set that you can sort of hone in like on its own, or is it just the culmination of like different skills getting better?
Its own skill or the culmination. So it's definitely everything's obviously connected, right?
Right.
If you can't read the map properly, how are you going to act it properly? If you can't aim it, how are you going to act it, right? It's I don't know. So if light tapping is good for the map and like my aim is good for the map, I know I can SS it. Like if there's a this is like a dumb example, but if let's say the map is like 200 BPM and I know I can FC 200, like it's just like a jump burst map and the aim is only 6 stars, like I'm proficient at both of those with aim and tapping and reading. I would say that like because all those I can do all of those perfectly for this map specifically. Like I can SS it or something like that. I can get good at. I don't know if that makes sense at all.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
it does. It's like I feel like you just sort of have that confidence in your skill. Like if you know your skill level is like up to par with
uh-huh.
that. But I feel like a lot of it probably also comes from just you seem like by nature you're very picky with your accuracy.
Yes. I think so. I mean, this is a rhythm game. Um I don't know. To me, to like how I view the game, I feel like you just push for good act. It's a rhythm game. It's like if you play a song, you don't want to play parts incorrectly.
Right.
I don't know if that makes sense.
That does make
I think
sense.
it does.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I also think just looking at an SS is nice. It's pretty. Um,
Yep, I agree.
yeah.
Going through your like your profile and like seeing these number ones is just like all SS, just so satisfying.
Yep. I think I counted it like a couple months ago. I have like a collection for all my number ones in game, and then I also have a collection for every time I've lost a number one. I think in total it's like I think I have over like 500 unique now, which is a lot for me. I think like unique that I've ever had number one on.
Oh wow.
So I'm pretty happy with that. I want to push for higher. Obviously, people nowadays, you got Hago with like 3,000 trail mix. You got like Penguin. You got what's his name, Chicken 10. Oh my god, these players are cracked. But
Oh my god.
yeah, they just play the game a lot more than me. But yeah, I care about accuracy. I don't know. I like being number one on leaderboards. I think it's fun. I think it's cool.
So another thing, especially related to going for number ones, is spinner speed. Is that something that also came naturally to you, especially as a mouse player? Is that something you have any tips on improving?
God. So I've unironically always been good at spinning. I spin. I'm pretty bad at it today, but like back, I would be able to spin for 70 consistently for a couple of years. Um, On mouse, I think it's easy. I spin counterclockwise. Yeah, I spin counterclockwise and just like a small spin. But it also I played tablet for a bit, and it was also really easy for tablet for me. I would hit the
Oh,
same speed. So I actually don't know what the trick is because I've never been bad at spinning.
interesting.
Um, you kind of have to like, if you're spinning, you kind of have to give up a bit of like I have to grip my mouse really hard and like kind of like strain my hand to spin fast. And that's like giving up like let's say there's a jump right after the spinner. Maybe I missed that, because of
Oh.
it. Um, so it's kind of like a give and take for me still. And I can see that for other people. Like maybe they're too afraid to like miss the next note or they don't want to tense their arm too much because it's like a 14-minute map. I don't know. Um, it's definitely something you can improve on, I believe. Like, or you can get better at. I think you just have to be aware and then that you want to get better at it and you'll find a way, you know?
Yeah, I know some people would like pause after they like spin a spinner super fast so they can adjust their grip,
Hmm.
things like that. Is that something you've done at all or not really?
I do I do pause abuse, but not like the way you're thinking of probably like when I'm just like need a second to like readjust my mouse or something and there's a break in the map, I'll just pause for like 2 seconds and then unpause, I'll do that.
Oh, okay.
Um maybe if I'm nervous I'll pause. But I don't uh I guess spinners I can like you can just pause in them, not to like spin faster, but I just use them as a break sometimes. I know some people might like callers out on that. I don't care. It's like I'm just, trying to have fun.
So when you do spin, like, because I assume it's not like much finger movement, it's a lot of like sort of like your whole hand or sometimes your whole arm. Like, do you like plant your wrist down and like vibrate your hand around or what?
Um, so I have a pretty high DPI. It's like 1200. I've always played with high DPI, so my movements aren't actually that big. Like I don't really move my arm at all. It's more like my wrist and my fingertips because I play with a fingertip claw grip. So my fingertips are on the mouse, and I kind of
Okay.
just like put pressure on them and move my wrist and fingers at the same time.
Oh, okay.
It might be a little hard if you can't see a visual, but I mean, I just move my hand, I guess. I don't really vibrate it because that's
Okay.
too much strain, I think, for me.
So you also mentioned tablet. What is your experience switching to tablet? Like, at what point did you try playing tablet, and what was your experience like with that? Because I assume you eventually went back to mouse.
Yeah, so I don't remember why. Been I just must have not believed in like my ability to play on mouse, or I was getting super burnout of the game with the game, or I was getting bored. So I got a tablet. I played it. I made a whole tablet log and everything for it. It was a lot of fun. I got to like 7.5K PP with tablet. No, that's like outdated PP, but it was I just wanted to try something new. I think unfortunately I was still playing tournaments during the time. I think we played a tournament together while I was playing tablet. And
Ah.
was just a dead player, I couldn't I was I couldn't I don't know. I was inconsistent. Um Tablet's really fun to mess around on for me, but I could never find a grip that didn't hurt my hand. Um that's why I've always enjoyed mouse. It's something I don't have to plug a tablet in. It's just always there. It's always comfy. It's just like that little barrier between, I have to find the tablet in the drawer on my desk, plug it in, stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
I feel that actually.
but tablet's really cool. I like it. It's fun. I'll have to try it out some more in the future.
I see. So it was more of a like kind of mental reset sort of way to.
I think so. I think I just needed to find out if it was for me or not. I kind of
Right.
had that like thought lingering in my head. I'm like, well, am I just gonna become better if I play tablet? Like, I don't know. It's probably what I asked myself at the time.
Right.
Um, I just needed to like experience it myself, and I just knew it wasn't for me. Um, so enjoy the game more mouse with mouse.
Interesting. Yeah, that's
So,
cool. I think a lot of people feel that pressure on themselves as well. That like if they're playing mouse and they're sort of like capped at a certain point.
hmm I mean, I think nowadays people like I do think tablet like if you're looking at it like objectively or whatever, yeah, there's no mouse drift or whatever, but like just play what's comfy to you, you know? Play what you like I don't know, are confident in. There's so many cracked mouse players out there now. I don't know. They do so many things. I'm just like, how are you doing that? You're playing mouse. I can't do that. And they're doing it like 400 DPI. I'm like, oh my god, my arm.
Oh, so leading up to current day, so there was a time where you played a lot of tournaments. What was your favorite and I guess also least favorite part about tournament play?
So I would say I'm gonna start with the bad. I think my least favorite part about tournaments, looking back, or like I I don't really like the format too much of having to kind of like sign away your life for like a potentially 2 months, every week. I think back then it was fine, it was just like, whatever. I just did it. It was the norm. It still is the norm. I think it's an okay format, but it was just like it's really easy to get burn out, Like
Right, right.
you're going hard the first few weeks, and then week 3 or 4 comes around, you're like, oh, I don't want to play anymore. That's pretty much the only thing I have or don't like with tournaments. I mean, other than that, it's like a fun competitive environment. You can play with the homies, I was never really a big 1v1 player. I don't know, I just don't like playing a lot of the maps that are in 1v1 pools. So I like the team format a lot more.
I
And
see.
like it's a lot more stressful 1v1. I don't know, I like the team environment. All just having fun, hopefully.
Yeah,
And
I think the
yeah.
other oh, you can continue. I feel like I didn't let you finish.
No, that was it. That was it.
Oh, okay. The other sort of competitive aspect of play, sort of like semi-competitive, is the beat map spotlights.
hmm
What are your thoughts on the beat map spotlight system, sort of as a whole? And do you feel like there is like an overall like? Do you feel like there's any improvements you would make to the system?
Okay, so unfortunately, I'm a loser and I haven't played anything after like the 2021 playlists. But I played the first like 5 quite a bit, or like maybe 4 or 3. Um, so they're on laser, obviously. You've probably talked about them in other videos, but
Right.
I think just the idea and the way it's been executed so far is really cool. I think it's just another way. It's like very simple, right? It's just play a bunch of maps, who gets the best score on them. It's a leaderboard. I think that's really fun. It's I like that they're, I guess, quarterly or like seasonal.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you
yeah.
can kind of keep a log of who was good when, or like there's a storyline to it. I think it's really I like that. I can't really speak about the recent ones. I've like heard really good things about them. I know you're on the team, aren't you? Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Or
For
yeah.
picking maps. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the one thing that sucks is it's on laser, and at the moment there's not a large player base on laser currently. So we'll have to see what happens when laser is released. Um, but yeah, I think it's an awesome addition. I would recommend everyone to go play them if you're looking for something else, like similar to a multi-lobby, but also like a solo leaderboard, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. I do think that's like a really big appeal to it. It's sort of like
hmm
a seasonal leaderboard on very select few maps.
hmm That's I'm gonna go a bit off topic, or it's kind of related, but going piggybacking on the reason I don't like the tournament format too much is so I'm a big fan of watching like Super Smash Brothers Melee, and their whole thing is like storylines and like who the play who's good now, like the past, all these storylines basically.
Ah,
It's really
okay.
cool. Like they're building up a big grand story. Um, I feel like if tournaments, they last it's like a 2 month thing, and then you find your winner out, at the end of the 2 months, and you kind of got like this is like me being like picky, but I like it when it's like a week by week basis and you can see who's good week by week, you know?
Oh, yeah,
Or
yeah,
like
yeah.
even like every 2 weeks, every month, you know? Like so you can like there's like kind of that log and there's a lot more like I don't know, I'm saying this a lot, but room for like the plot. I don't know. It's really stupid. But
That makes a lot of sense. So I feel like, especially, I mean, I'm also personally someone who really values like sort of archiving like
mhm,
the storyline, so to speak, or like history of different players and in the community and things like that. So yeah, I definitely agree with like sort of on a week by week basis, sort of like having this competitive environment for everyone to sort of duke it out and
mhm.
like test their skills and things like that. And you can sort of like see people like reign in the top for like weeks on end, and then someone comes and takes
Yeah, yeah.
over, things like
And like
that.
by no means is like have has the community done like a bad job at doing that.
Right.
Like Osu, there's so much like info and like archive stuff. It's awesome.
Oh, for sure.
Um, but I think Spotlights is another avenue for that, right? Like back then, before Spotlights, back must have been before I even started playing, they had the monthly rankings. If you go to like I don't know, the charts is what they're called.
Oh, yeah,
Like I
yeah,
just
yeah.
liked a random one. But it was like, oh, if you go back to these are probably like, okay, so this one started in December 5th, 2010, ended 2011 January.
Oh my
And
god.
it's just like a month where like, oh, you see all these old players. Like, oh my God, Rutgers #1 on this.
Oh my god.
Let's go to the next one. It's okay. Like, oh, Rutgers not on this one. So like something happened to Rucker, you know? I don't know.
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Stuff like that. I think it's cool. Part of me likes that. I know a lot of people probably don't care for this at all, but I think it's, I like having stuff. So I'm excited for spotlights. I think it'd be cool, honestly, if there were like, so we have the seasonal ones, right? Those are cool. But honestly, you guys could probably do maybe bi-weekly or monthly ones as well. I guess those can be community driven as well.
Yeah, yeah, man. Now that you mention it, I feel like that's something that like Osu does, but on way too long of a time horizon, so to speak.
Yeah. Because like in reality, like like you see the players that are on top every couple months, but you miss the players that pop off for like I don't know, maybe a week or like
Yeah,
a smaller time frame, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
then they go back and they stop playing the game for a bit or have a break. And it's probably the minority of like players, but like people are probably missing out on this on the spotlight.
yeah. And as you mentioned it, going back to all these spotlight leaderboards and seeing Toy on the top for
Yeah,
pretty much the entire time that spotlights were a thing. Like I'm
that's
just,
cool, man. I mean,
yeah,
like man, Dson was taking over in like 2015. Yeah.
yeah. But like clicking on all these all the way back to 2016, it seems like August 2016. Nope, not August. September. Yeah, September is when Toy like first got number 1 on a spotlight leaderboard, and then he just literally did it every single month, pretty much until
Based.
the the system ended. So yeah, that guy's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, that's another one of those things about just kind of the game and the community in general is that like as you mentioned, like the history aspect is just so awesome.
I will. Okay, so I'm gonna go on a tangent here with the like history and like storylines and
Yeah,
stuff.
sure.
So one really cool thing, I think it must have been like 2018 Jill just brought this to my attention, but like I'm a big fan of playing beat map packs now. Obviously, like Wolf playing on stream, he just downloads beat map packs, he just goes through them like map by map by map. If you go back to like the old, like let's say you go back to like 2014, 2013, 2012, and you go in map rank order, like when it was ranked, and you just go down the leaderboard and you just look at the leaderboard individually and you like look at the dates of like the scores when they're set, there's just like legit storylines in that itself. You'll be like, okay, this map Wolf got #1 at like I don't know 10 p.m. Okay, then he played the hard diff, he got #1 2 minutes later. Then he played the insane diff 2 minutes later, he got #1 there, and then he did same for the next beat map set 5 minutes later. And it's just like, what the heck? This it's just like so cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um,
Dang.
and you see that for other players too. Like I'm gonna use 2014 as an example again, but like I don't know, you see like Beatrice on every hard diff. You see Cinch on
Yeah.
every, and then if you go to the map details, you're like, oh, these guys got to rank one when the map was ranked or when it was qualified. I'm
Oh
like, damn,
yeah.
they were so good. They did it like the day it was ranked.
And it's still there.
All the info is there. It's just that you gotta search for it. I think that's really cool. Like, I don't know. There's so much stuff archived. It really rewards people that want to delve and find more. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's actually a really good point. So, out of everything, would you say that's your favorite part about the game, or what would you say is your absolute favorite aspect of OSU?
I think my favorite part about the game is at its core, the game is so simple. Like if you open the client, there's like only so many menus, right? You got your song with the leaderboards, you got multiplayer and the chat. That's like it. And the game has done so many things just through the community. Like the community has really driven like the game a long way. Like I don't know, even just like leaderboard battles and stuff in the game. That doesn't exist like that just exists because of the players. We're just using like the tools that were given to us.
Right, right.
Um that's what I like about OSINT the most. So I guess leaderboards would be yeah. That was a weird answer, I guess. I don't know.
No, no, that does make a lot of sense. I think the sort of community aspect around such a game that has such a simple premise.
Because I'm gonna be honest, like I don't think I would be playing this game really if it was like me offline, for example. I'd probably play every now and then. I like the game. It's a lot of fun.
Right.
I mean, obviously I like the game. I have like thousands of hours in it, but uh I don't know. I like the like competitive side of me, seeing other people there. Like when they set the score, their act, everything. I think that's really cool. I hope Laser does nothing but improves on that.
Oh, yeah, I was going to ask about Laser actually. So, having played on it, at least during the spotlights, I'm not sure how much you've touched Laser aside from that, but do you have
Hmm.
any general thoughts on the current state of Laser? Which, for context, at the time recording this, it's getting closer. There's like minor, or like a couple systems that need to be set in place for like the like score submission to be enabled, but at the time we're recording this, there's no proper score submission on Laser yet. So, but we're
Hmm.
pretty close. So yeah, in Laser's current state, do you have any sort of overall thoughts on just sort of Laser in general, and also how it might impact the community for better or worse?
So I updated Laser like last week just to check it out. Before that, it was probably a couple months back when I last played Laser, like just on my own for fun. Um, I messed around with like the mods and stuff, I guess. I don't know what the community's reception is going to be to it. So personally, this is just all my opinion. I think that I don't like how it looks still, like the menuing of like the song selects. But that's just really it. I think they changed some stuff about spinners in Laser that I don't know how the community is
Right.
going to take. I think it was like spin caps or something,
Yeah,
or they
yeah.
changed the way leaderboards were ordered, where like you could get the same act as someone, but if there's something weird about like I know leaderboards get reordered in Laser compared to stable, so we'll see how that ends up happening. What ends up happening with that. But overall, I'm excited for it, but I'm scared because going back to it, I think they're adding a lot of stuff, and I think what makes OSU so fun is because it's so simple to me. Like I think there's a beauty in that, and like so much has happened because of something so simple, like the game
Oh,
mechanics and stuff. Um,
right.
I just don't want it to get like too convoluted. This is just like me personally. I don't know. Obviously my opinion can change, but I think like having unlimited multiplayer rooms is awesome. That's really cool. I'm really excited to see what they do with the whole like playing with other people, like multiplayer aspect of Laser.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, I love that the web site is integrated into the client itself. There's so many options, like avenues they can go. Like, I don't know, they could add freaking clans, man, or like clubs,
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah,
that'd
yeah.
be so cool. People have been wanting that forever. All the private servers have them.
Oh, true.
I hope it the core identity of the game is the same. I hope it feels the same. That's
Right.
all. I hope nothing gets fucked with in terms of I just hope all like the history of the game is kept intact. I'm still really on the fence about Slider Act in solo play, personally. I think the classic mod is very ugly.
Oh,
But that's me. I don't know. I think Slider Act breaks a lot of ranked maps that were not intended to have it. But
I
it can also
see.
be good. It can also be very good.
Yeah. Whenever people bring up Slider Act, I always wonder. It's like if Slider Act was always a thing, and then they started considering getting rid of it. Like, would people have the same? Like,
Oh,
would
for
people?
sure.
Yeah.
It's just like a it's never been around thing.
Yeah. That makes
But
sense.
yeah, I think you just need people need more context, right? Like a lot of maps. I think Charles made a really good video about this, like 10-minute video explaining Slider Rack and why it's not meant for the majority of maps that are ranked, right?
Yeah, I remember
Um,
that.
just based off like the music and the way the sliders are placed, right?
Right.
So I think there just has to be context, right? You can't. That's why I'm on the fence about it. Like every map, the maps that want Slider X should have it, and the maps that don't want it shouldn't have it. That's what I think. Maybe like maybe it should be the mapper decides when they're making it. I don't know. I haven't thought about Slider X that much recently, like the past year. But if it if it's ends up being permanently on, like it is what it is. People will get better, I guess.
Right. I remember there was definitely a lot of controversy when Scorvy 2 was first created. And
Hmm.
as you mentioned, Charles 445 was a really, really prominent mapper at the time. And I'm pretty sure they won the first Aspire contest on Evanescent. Was it Charles or was it? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was. But yeah, so you mentioned that like Charles made a video sort of breaking down why like Slider Act doesn't align with a lot of like mapper choices of like maps at the time. And for this is sort of a little, I guess, quote unquote Easter egg from that specific era. But if you go to Charles's map called Underworld Monarchy, it is an Undertale marathon,
It's a
and
good map.
at the very top of the description, it says this map works best with score V1. The intro is unfair in V2. I think this is one of those maps that he like specifically referenced as like the sliders. Like he chose to use sliders in the intro, I guess, because of the wonky rhythm, and it would just be unfair to act like try hitting them all with 300s, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Because before people just didn't take into account slider act, because it wasn't a thing. So they mapped with that context in mind. So we'll see. I just hope that like whatever happens in laser or like to the game going forward, it's like the right thing to happen. I don't want people to like brush aside issues that are actually like issues that a lot of people like care about.
Right.
And I don't know. I just want things to be like I want things to go smoothly, and I want everyone to be happy, but that won't happen.
Your point about like making sure like it doesn't mess with the core identity of the game and the way the community perceives it. I mean, in the end, like we're gonna reach a point where the majority of active players grew up on laser, and I feel like the
Hmm. Yeah.
the perception of, I guess, like I don't know, there's going to be a really big like generational divide, so to speak, which I think is going to be really interesting to see, because I would think that the people that grew up on laser just like would, it's kind of like these days if you look at back at the old website. Remember when
Yeah.
when that was starting to
I
become a
still,
thing?
yeah,
Yeah.
I miss it. I still think the information like density of that is a lot better.
Oh
Um,
really?
I don't know. I'm just like reaching that like boomer stage
Oh
where it's
no.
like just like pushing against change. I'm all for everything that's happening in laser. I just don't want it to alienate too many people. I think Pepe, right, has talked about it a lot. He wants there to be, a place for everyone. But who knows?
I I resonate with the direction that the development team is going, where it's sort of like you need that sort of compatibility with as many like potential users as possible, I guess.
Mhm.
And so yeah, I don't know. Personally, I'm really excited for like the changes moving forward, but yeah,
Yeah, it should be fun
I do
for sure.
definitely see those like concerns with like the game's culture and things like that.
We shall
So
see when laser's released in 9 years.
going back to a couple other skill sets, so to speak, I'm curious your thoughts. I think the first one is probably reading. sort of in general, do you have thoughts on, I guess, like different types of reading and ways of reading and strategies to read, especially like more awkward types of maps a little more easily?
I think I've brought this up to you before whenever we talked like a couple times previously, but I really do see like Osu as kind of like a puzzle game in a sense where it's like you're or like a also like patterns. Like it's kind of just like the more you play, the more patterns you get used to. Like, oh, you can play a triangle of, three notes or something. Uh, and you kind of just like add all of these to like your muscle memory, your inventory, or of, whatever patterns. And you kind of like the the more you play more. I don't know, the easier it becomes per se. Like you end up seeing similarities in maps, your intuition grows. Like I will say, because I play so many like 6-star insane diffs, I can like sometimes if I'm just feeling it or I'm having a good session, I can just SS on sight read just like every map, right? Because I'm just like, oh, I know there's just gonna be a triple here because they put a triple in the same section of the song 30 seconds ago
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something like
yeah.
that.
Yep.
It's like pattern building, and the more you play, the easier it gets for you. So that's one way I look at reading.
A lot of people, when they talk about reading, there's the whole like reading a square in smaller sections instead of one big thing,
Yeah,
that
I
sort of
know
aspect.
that's like the infamous Wowie video that's in my watch later permanently. It's because I link it to people all the time.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
it's I'll put it in a thread, but it's
Okay.
just like breaking down patterns. So like let's say there's a square, you could read it as a 1-2, you could read it as a triangle, a right angle triangle, and like a note at the end. Whatever. Like if you're having trouble reading a map, you have to like figure out what the issue is first. You have to figure out that it's like a reading issue first. Like so, like I don't know, go in the editor, look at the patterns. You have to understand what you're playing to play it, right? I think it makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, so that's the question, right? And you have to figure out how to answer that, and it's different for every person. So it could be breaking down patterns. It could just be memorizing it. There's a lot of things you can do, but I will say it does get easier the more variety of maps you play, or like if you play a lot of the same. Like if I want to get good at tech, I'm just gonna spam like a bunch of tech maps, for example, and like build up my library of patterns in that category of game, right? And hopefully I will get more consistent at reading and better at it, something that like that.
Yeah, like everything kind of builds on top of each other. It's sort of like learning vocabulary words, so to speak.
hmm You're running the marathon, like, right? You're not running the sprint in OSU.
Yeah, I think that's a good way
So,
to put it too. Yeah. That philosophy, especially when it comes to improvement. I mean, not really just in OSU, but in anything where like especially
mhm.
if you want to get to a pretty high level, it's like it's all about I guess in some sense not trying to take shortcuts and like
Yeah, I think it's a lot on like the person who wants to improve. It's a lot on them figuring out how they can do it. Like, there's so much information out there and resources for OSU specifically on like how to get better. I mean, everybody's got like a how to train speed now on YouTube or something. Um,
right.
So like there's so much information, and like people can take that, and they can intake that and like you know use it. But at the end of the day, it's like it's still on them to figure out how to do it for themselves. I don't know if that makes sense. I hope it does. It makes sense to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, it does make sense. You sort of like there everyone
The
sort of
onus
has
is
to
on
find
them. I don't know.
the what?
The onus, like it's does that make sense? I hope I used that word correctly.
I don't actually know what that means.
Used to refer to something that is one's duty or responsibility.
Ah, okay. Okay, I see.
It's used a lot in like card games and like other stuff. It's like their response. It's their duty to figure out like
Okay. So
find their path forward. There are like no like I don't know quote shortcuts. I would agree.
right, right, right. I agree with that. It's sort of like you have to find your own path
hmm
because there's so many ways to go about it, but only a couple will really resonate with you.
Yeah, and that again doesn't mean don't like take other people's advice or ask for help or anything.
Oh
It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
like you have to like just be practical. You gotta like, oh, maybe using this grip will help, maybe it won't. You know,
Right.
but that's something you gotta figure out. Same thing goes for like tapping style, what skin you play with. I don't know, it goes for everything, right? I think
Yeah.
if you use practical and logical thinking, It makes sense to me. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, just
Yeah.
you can experiment so much in this game, like especially compared to other
Hmm.
games where like I feel like that's also one of the most like the one of the best things about Osu for me is that there's no set meta. Like there's infinite ways to play the game because there's one simple premise and there's infinite ways that you could go about achieving that goal of clicking the circle accurately, right? And getting your cursor there. So whatever method
For
works
sure. For
best for
sure.
you and most comfortably for you is perfectly viable, which I think is different from a lot of games where it's like there's a set meta and the developers make patches and update things, and some things don't work when they used to in the past. So I think that's one really unique thing about Usu in particular.
I completely agree. It's really important to understand what like I don't know, maybe it's just understand your limits as a player or like understand what you're capable of. So like an example is for me, so like I suck at stamina, like high-end stamina. It's just a problem I've always had. If it the note if unless I'm really comfy and warmed up, anything longer than like a 14 note stream, it's kind of hard for me. It's definitely just my tapping style, and I just don't play stamina, right? I don't train it. It's not something I want to do currently. It's not something I ever want to do. So I just know that like I suck at that. I'm not gonna lie to myself. But also, like, let's say I wanted to get good at stamina, like I would figure out a way to reach that end goal, you know?
Ah,
Uh
okay.
it's not like specific or anything, it's pretty vague, but like I don't want to like lie to myself and say like when I'm playing, I'm like, oh, like I just sometimes you just gotta be honest with like your current skills and skill sets and go from there. You'll have a lot more fun in the game, I think. Maybe. I do at least.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. It's like you can know where you want to end up, but if you don't know where you are, then it's going to be really hard to build the path to figure out how to get there.
Yeah, I will say just knowing where you are each session. So it's kind of weird because like maybe this is just for me specifically. I'm kind of like my skill floor and like skill ceiling are pretty close. I'd say I'm really happy with where I've ended up in Osu. Like I get on and I'm able to just play what I enjoy almost like perfectly. Like, I just go SS leaderboard stuff. And I can do that with like take I can take a month break and come back and do that, right? My skill floor is just I've reached that level. And I understand that and I'm happy with that, right? So like just that specifically has like made me enjoy the game a lot more on the like per session basis because I'm like, oh, if like I know how I want to warm up for certain things that I want to play, right? Like if I want to play, I don't know, like hard rock, I know what I have to do to be ready for that on the day, and then I'll find something to do with that. I don't like playing the game like lazily, I guess. Well, sometimes I do, but like lazily in the sense where like I'll just get on, press F2 and be like and just do that for like an hour. I don't, I kind of like having like a plan, but not that strict, but like, like I get on the game for a reason.
Right, like a certain goal that like you want to sort of achieve by the
And
end
that
of the
reason
session.
could just be listening to music and having fun, playing with video on, hit lighting, stuff like that. I do that a lot. But I don't want to like get tilted because I'm trying to do something and that I know I can't that day or something. I don't know.
Right, right, right.
Because I know a lot of people in this game, like just mentally, it gets too stressful or they are too hard on themselves, stuff like that. So I think just being aware, aware of things helps that a lot.
Yeah, you mentioned specifically with hard rock, the way I sort of interpret that is that like you sort of have to know, you have to be realistic with like your current level so that you can pick the maps that are gonna give you, I guess, the most satisfaction throughout that session instead of like expecting that you can play things that you actually can't yet. And sort of I feel like the expectations you set for yourself is really important. And I think that's kind of what you're getting at as well. Where
Mm.
like if you set unrealistic expectations for yourself, then it's just going to make things so much more frustrating.
Like I think it's a double-edged sword in a way. There's a lot of pros. Like if I know, so I've played so many maps, not as much as others, but I've played a lot of B maps in the game, right? A lot of ranked stuff.
Right, right.
Um, I have big like collections of stuff like I have like huge folders of just like stuff I want to FCDT just randomly, like down the road. So if you know where you're at on the given day, like, oh, this is a good warm-up session, I'm kind of feeling myself today or something, I'm aware of the other similar maps in my collection that I can just go play immediately, right? I feel like a lot of people in Osu, they kind of they're playing good, but they don't know what to play. They either have like a quote wasted session or they F2 go to a random map and it was perfect. It was like the perfect map for them, you know? And they get a cool
Ah,
score, right? So I
yep.
think I don't know, just having knowledge of what other songs and stuff are out there, if you're looking to improve set leaderboard scores, etc., whatever you're looking to do in the game, just expanding your song folder can help a lot in being aware of what's out there. Because if I got like DT insane diff number 500 right here, and I got like 20 more in the folder, I just pump them out that day, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but so I said I was a double-edged sword because I think you also it's hard for me to push skill cap because mostly just because I don't want to. I'm happy where I ended up, but I think if you're like, I think sometimes setting unrealistic expectations can maybe help in a sense. Maybe I'm not sure. I'm just like it's weird for me because I'm really happy with where I'm at in the game. Like I said before, like I don't have the care to push skill cap, but I know a lot of people do. So I can't really comment on that side of things too
Uh, I
much.
I think that's actually a nice perspective to have because I feel like it's really refreshing in the world of like so many people being so like, oh, how do I improve? How do I improve? But then I think it's important to recognize like to really be able to take a step back and look at the game as a whole and be like, man, it's just a simple little circle game, which like even people can say, but like really looking at it that way is I think a whole different thing.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, you just gotta look at every angle, every perspective sometimes.
So you mentioned expanding your song folder. What would you say are the best ways to find maps that are like this sort of style that you would want, or even just like finding new high quality maps?
Yeah, so that is like an issue currently for a lot of the player base, right? Is just finding maps. I would say when I started out, it was only through multiplayer and the new rank section. And I think in my 8 to 9 years playing, it is the same. That's how people get their maps. It's either, I guess now watching Twitch streams maybe, multiplayer, and then new ranked maps if they go on the website a little or have as a direct. The best way to get maps is at least ranked maps is just going to the beat map packs page or mappers. If you find a mapper you like, just downloading their entire mapping collection. But
Yeah.
I remember a few years back I just played through every 2014 map through packs, like just all the ranked maps because that was the year I joined. I was nostalgic for it. I wanted to rank score farm and stuff. And that was a lot of fun. I found so many hidden gems, so many just good songs in general. Um, just through downloading packs, you know. Um, you just go to the website, you go to beatmaps, beatmap packs. It's like the third link. And then there's like 1,200 of them. But it's kind of hard to like find the year you want, but it's there on the website. I think it's unfortunate because it's like a barrier. You know, people have to go to the website, they have to find the pack they want, they have to open it, they have to download all the maps. But if you're looking to expand your song folder, this is the way to do it. I will say 2015, 2012 to 2015, there are so many like that is just like the golden era for learning fundamentals of the game. Nothing is mapped like nothing is cheesy. It all is mapped to the song. It makes sense. It's not too overmapped. It's like these people were just like mapping their 4 to 5 star, 6 star with DT maps, and you can learn so like just the fundamentals so well off that era. I feel like the maps nowadays, there's a lot of really good maps nowadays, but a lot of them are also very like daunting and very like what the heck, right? Why did you map it like this? This is ugly. This is stupid. This really doesn't make sense. There's a lot of like people. There's a lot of unique mapping nowadays. I will
Yeah.
say I'm not the biggest fan of a lot of them, but it's a lot easier to learn the fundamentals back then because that was like the ranked criteria was a lot stricter, definitely.
Yeah, I want to double down on what you mentioned about like going to people's profiles or like mappers that you like, especially now that we have the like guest participation section where you can see where they've made guest diffs on other ranked maps.
Huge change, really awesome.
Yeah, that was I think added a couple months ago from
Hmm.
when this is being recorded.
So you can go to the mappers page for their maps, but you can also go to your friends' favorite maps. And
Yeah.
if there's players, if you see people on leaderboards, like if you just go to a leaderboard, let me just go to a leaderboard. And you're like, oh, who's rank one on this? Okay, Kingling's rank one on this. go to Kingling. He's like, oh my god, he has like so many number ones. And then you're like, you just download all the number ones and be like, okay. I mean, you could use me as an example. Like, oh, if you like playing DT burst stuff around the 6 to 7 star range, just go through my number ones. You'll find so many maps you like. For example.
Right. Okay. That's actually a really good point. Like, if you recognize people on leaderboards often, then
Hmm.
most likely like they play a lot of that type of map that you enjoy. So,
And I will say, I didn't mention this in like the part where we talked about like my upbringing in OSU, but like I kind of like when I started, I kind of just like fanboyed over people on the leaderboards. Like I remember Nitro. I don't know if you remember him.
yeah, I
I think
do
he's from
actually.
Nexo. He was like a 1 digit or like number 10, but he was like hard rock hidden player. And he was just like number one on a lot of maps back then. I was like, oh, that guy's cool. I checked out his profile, play the maps he played. Same goes for obviously I was a big H-Vic Snow White fan, right? Slam, big respect. But
Yep.
I mean, I think a lot of people do that, like I guess Wolf, Cookiesy, people like try to emulate what they did, go for be good at the stuff they were good at. I think that's cool.
Yeah, man. I'm looking at Nitro's profile now and like looking at their most played maps. You have World's End by Happy
Yeah.
30.
I'm pretty sure that was the highest HDHR play at the time. I
That's
don't know.
possible.
I think it was though.
Yeah,
Like
now the
470 or something.
leaderboard is filled with hidden double time.
Oh my god. You are so good now.
Oh my god. But yeah, I mean, this just honestly just goes back to what you were talking about with just the legacy that this game. Oh, wait, in the map description, it says on Happy 30's World's End, it says preferred skin, Toho made by Cyclone. That's
That's
awesome.
that's pretty cool.
So,
Also,
yeah.
people need to play with video and storyboard on more. Like just for fun. If you're just bored, if you want to play OSU but not so seriously, just like I don't know, find an anime opening. Play with 50 dim. I don't know. It's more fun than you think. The majority of players these days just permanently play on 100 dim, everything off, right? Hit sounds off, custom skins off. But that's a whole other part of OSU that was like huge back then. That doesn't really get a lot of love nowadays. For sure.
Yeah, man, you mentioned that like a lot of people are like, oh, why don't you make the default settings like 100% background dim because nobody plays
Mhm.
with it anyway. And it's like, man, I feel like a lot of people are sort of like they're too deep into like the like optimizing settings for gameplay and
Yeah,
improvement sort of
for sure.
aspect. And
And like I do think that's important for
yeah, yeah,
with that context, right? For improving and getting us, yeah, I would agree. But it's not all the game has to offer, what I will say.
right. Yeah, I agree. And I'm glad you're sort of here to preach that truth. And yeah, going back to something you mentioned earlier about experimentation, and what I find is that you can ask as many top players as you want, and you can watch as many YouTube videos as you want about like I don't know mouse versus tablet or like anything like that, but or really anything. But if you just experiment with it yourself, you're gonna get a better answer than any top player or any YouTube video could tell you.
For sure. I mean, so I will say there's probably still a large like the majority of OSU player base is like younger, right? Like younger than 18, I bet still. Like
Yeah, yeah,
I just remember like obviously I was born 2000, so like around 2014 I was 14. And I just remember like I still was just like a kid, a teenager, right? I couldn't really I didn't improve or play the game how I would nowadays because I'm just older and I know more, right? I have a lot more information now. So I can see it's like I don't know, like sometimes I feel like it could be hard for them to like just go about improving the way that we want them to. I think if just people just if they just play the game, if player I believe if someone really wants to improve, like deep down, they will. Like I
yeah,
believe that. I believe that about all the people that have made it far in this game. Like we have all just wanted to achieve a goal and we've found a way to do that, you know?
yeah, yeah.
Um so I think you just can't lie to yourself, right? Like I sometimes like people come to me like, "Oh, I want to improve." It's like you actually have to want that, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's okay if you don't, right? You just have to be true to yourself, right? Or else you'll get angry or something. You won't get what you want. You can't half-ass it.
Right. I think that's actually a good point because there's a difference between like, oh, it would be cool if I was able to be able to play all these maps and like it would be cool to improve, quote unquote, but there's definitely I think a difference between that and just being like obsessed with it and like not in the sense of like sort of I feel like if you're truly obsessed with getting better at something, then like you will just throw your head against the wall as many times as you want and you'll have fun doing it too, which I
True.
think that's the most important part.
Like I think maybe this is like ego, but I fully believe like if I wanted to become two digit, like if I really wanted to, I could. Like I would figure out how to make it there, right? I would play little farm maps, I get really good at that skill set.
Right, right.
But I just don't want to do that, right?
Yeah.
Once again, I don't I that kind of sounds like kind of me coming
No, no,
off as like ego, but like
I
I
agree.
would say the same for like anyone.
Yeah. Yeah, I see
So
exactly what you mean.
I think that's cool about this game specifically because it really shows that.
Yeah.
Um,
What an awesome game.
yes.
Are there any things you really don't like about the game or the community or anything like that?
Um, any things I don't like about the community or game? I mean, like, you got like people here and there that I don't probably like disagree with. Um, there's a lot of drama usually, but at the end of the day, it's just like all kind of like high school drama. Sometimes you have that like actual drama, but like the game is so like community related, so like I have no issues with the game itself, I think. Other than DT being worth less than HDHR. That's the only real issue I have with the game.
Oh, that's
Fix it,
fair.
Peppy. He won't. He won't do it. It's whatever.
It is fixed in laser. The multipliers are different.
All right. Looks like I'm playing laser now. No. um I don't know. I don't really have any issues with the game. I think it's sick. I don't know. You use the game as an MP3 player. I don't know. It's
I
cool.
did that so often.
I
Oh
just
my
do that while I
god.
play League sometimes. Just like I just have like
Yeah.
a songs relaxing playlist. I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay.
I think a lot of people don't know that actually. So on the main menu of the game, you can use your collection. So like from the main menu, it'll play random songs. But
Mhm.
in the very top right, there is like the three lines, like a hamburger icon. And if you click on that, you can use your collections as a playlist. So
Mhm.
if you have too many collections, so you can't scroll, so there's like a drop down to pick your collections. And if it goes past the screen, like with skins, you can just keep scrolling if you have a bunch of skins, but on that menu, you can't scroll. So you'd need them to be like higher in the alphabet or like appear higher in the list. But yeah, anyway, that is definitely something that I would do all the time. I think I would use my DT collection because all of those maps were just like songs that I also just I just liked all those songs.
Mhm.
So just
For sure.
banger after
Yeah, yeah.
banger.
Yep. I would agree. Another thing, on collections. I know I talked about it earlier, but like unironically, just having collections is really helpful. Like you could have just a collection of just like all your multiplayer maps, which I think is common. People do that. But just knowing where to go when is pretty nice. Having a warm-up collection is pretty cool. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
stuff like that. Because it can actually just lead you to be like excited about coming back the next session. I don't know. That's how I look at it. There's always like a collection I have at the very top. It's called Go. It's just like a couple maps. I'm like, I gotta go and do these at
That's
some
funny.
point. So yeah.
All right, I think that seems like a solid place to wrap up. Do you have any final words of wisdom for anyone? I don't know, any thoughts or opinions or things you'd like to share with the world?
Well, first, thank you for letting me come on to this. This is a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Thanks for coming.
Um, I don't know. Just find a way to enjoy the game, everyone. I think if you're not enjoying the game, stop playing. I think it's that simple. The game won't go anywhere. It'll be here. Stuff like that. If you want to improve, you can do it. I believe in you. You'll find a way.
Yep, I definitely
That's
agree
pretty
with
much
that.
it. And download beatmap packs. It's important. It's like a weekly homework assignment. Download your beatmap packs. I
It's like
don't know.
eat your vegetables.
Yeah. We need
Thanks.
more
Oh,
leaderboard rivalries. That's another thing.
yeah, yeah, man. We need more leaderboard players, period.
I hope the friends ranking is a free feature on Laser. I don't know. It might already be. I don't know.
Oh.
Just have more rivalries with your friends or rivals. And if you don't, go find someone near your rank range. Go press F9, sort by all, and find the guy next to you and message him or her. Legit.
Yeah, yeah. I think a lot of people actually like. I don't know. Like Osu is one of those games. Like it's so easy to connect with people, and like the game is so connected. Like just message people. Like that's what the feature is for in the first
Mhm.
place.
Totally.
Yeah. I actually, now that I think about it, I used to do that all the time. I would spectate people, especially the
Hmm.
people in the nearby filter. I would just spectate them and I'd be like, hey, by the time I did that, I was relatively high rank. So sometimes I would feel weird about it because then it's like, oh, who's this like random top player who's like just like watching me for no reason? And they would get shy, I guess, or they'd be
Yeah.
like, oh no. But yeah, especially if you're able to find people around your rank that you can just kind of spectate. And I think that sort of relatability of being around the same level, you can check their profile too and
Yeah,
sort
like
of
even if
see.
you don't want to like message them, maybe like you're shy or something, you don't want to you just don't want to talk to someone, right? You can just check out their top played maps or most played, most highest performance points, and then
Yeah.
you can spam their maps and improve that way, you know?
Yeah. That was the old
You can
strat.
always have like a you can always have a hidden rival. You can have a rival that where they don't know about you. That exists.
I had that exact thing when I started playing
Yeah.
in like 2014.
I used to run cross country in high school,
Uh-huh.
and I would go to meets, right? And we'd have our team. There was always this other school. There was this kid named Quentin, and
Yeah.
he didn't know who I was. I didn't talk to him, but he was my rival for 4 years.
Oh my
It was
God.
awesome. I always tried to beat him. If he didn't know who, he doesn't know who I am now. So I'm just
Oh man, that's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, people need to take advantage of the awesome community and just awesome culture that this game has.
yeah. It was just special in that like a lot of games now you do matchmaking, you get in a lobby with people, and then you never see them again. Um, this is different. You know, you can still kind of like form connections. You know, be smart. It's still the internet. Be smart on the internet, guys. Uh, you know, stuff like that. I think it's cool. I think that's it. I think it was a good talk.
Yeah, thanks again, Fangzy, for joining, and thanks everyone for listening. We will see you all next time.
Bye.